finish up there, Bobby? Two more trucks going up the hill. How many tons?
About 1,100.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here Wednesday, September 3rd for our 6 o'clock town board meeting. Clerk, could you please read the roll call?
Councilman Mikan?
Here.
Councilwoman Snow?
Here.
Councilwoman Pitt? Here. Councilman McCarthy?
Here.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Here. Please stand and follow us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First item on the agenda tonight, acknowledgement of minutes for the August 20th meeting. I'll make a motion for that. Could I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. All right, we spoke at the last meeting about hiring an HR consultant for the town of Pauling, and I know we have you. Thank you for being here tonight. Hope you're ready to answer some questions. I appreciate you coming down. So you are the next item on the agenda. Just come on up and state your name and the company, the consultants, and then the floor is yours.
Sure. Thank you all for having me. My name's Ian Lohner. I work for Public Sector HR Consultants. We sent over a proposal to be the town's HR consultant. Previously, I've worked with the supervisor and some others on an employee handbook project that was adopted and hopefully is successful for you. You know, as far as this proposal would be to sort of, you know, work as the town's outsourced HR function. So if you guys have any questions about the proposal, please feel free to fire away.
Could you just speak just briefly before we start hitting questions, just on other towns you guys work with?
Sure.
And just the longevity situations as far as how long you've been there and whatnot?
Yeah, so, you know, there's a number of different arrangements that we have with municipalities in the area. So sometimes we'll work on a project basis like we did here with the employee handbook. And for others, we'll sort of, you know, similar to this, be their outsourced HR department, so to speak. You know, the town of LaGrange, we've had a very long relationship with that dates back to before I was even hired. But I've worked with them closely. The town of Poughkeepsie, had a long relationship with. Town of Rhinebeck, some others south of here, City of Peekskill, town of Pound Ridge, town of Kent we worked with for a very long time. Town of North Salem, trying to think of a map of the area in my head. Yeah, quite a few.
That's a pretty good surrounding.
Yeah.
Could I just ask, would you be able to give us references that we can talk to?
Oh, absolutely.
Like
Certainly.
individuals? Okay.
Yep.
And are there any of the towns that you've listed that you're currently working with?
Yeah, town of Rhinebeck we work with on an ongoing basis, similar to this, what this would be. Town of LaGrange as well. Those are two that are local-ish that we work with on an ongoing basis.
Okay, great.
And you just renew a contract with them annually?
Yeah, every year.
Okay,
Usually we try to line it up with turn of the year.
like the reorg meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
So it's a one-year
Yep.
contract?
Yeah, but could be canceled at any time for, you know, whatever reason.
Excellent. And we'll just go right in order. Councilman Migan, do you have any questions for him?
Would we have a dedicated consultant here that would just handle Pauling?
It would be me. So I would be available at any time via phone or email. If there was a certain matter that you needed me to come to town hall to handle, I live fairly locally.
Okay.
I live in the county. So I would be able to come down, help you out with whatever it might be. Let's say, you know, you had an incident where like a formal complaint was submitted. You know, I could come down, help conduct the investigation and things like that. So, yeah, but primarily email and phone, but
So I
could
may
be
have
here as
missed
well.
this, but how long have you been in business, you yourself?
Me personally, this is the only career I've ever had. So I started working for the firm straight out of college. So I've been there about, 16 years.
You've seen plenty of stuff then.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Is it a big firm, or is it just,
It's pretty small, but we cover the entire state. So, most are sort of in the capital region. But I cover most everything in this area and south.
okay, thank you.
No problem.
Councilwoman Snow.
Yes, thanks. So I had asked our legislative aide that's been doing the HR work for us.
Yeah,
of her-
Stephanie.
Of her job, yep.
Yep.
And she's here. Her job duties. So.
Hi.
So in going through them, and these are things that I've been told, she is like, for example, the contact person for the county. I believe it's James, you and Stephanie. She's responsible for RPCs in regards for resignation, resumes, Dutchess County application, each May payroll certification. She's an HBA for health insurance. So these are the job duties that she needs to continue with. Those are like her job duties. And so after all of that, just so I would get an understanding, then what would you offer us?
So it would be a lot of the more complicated stuff. So the employee counseling, discipline investigations, things like that.
Yeah.
Like let's say you had to write someone up or confer formal disciplinary charges. I can handle that stuff. Like let's say you have someone that needs to go out on leave for a medical related reason or a family issue. Preparing the paperwork to put them out on FMLA. Stuff like that, workers' comp issues, really anything sort of miscellaneous that Stephanie just doesn't like to do, I'm happy to take on.
Well, I just want to be clear, because I know it's not that she doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
These are things I understand that per her being a direct contact for the county, she needs to be doing and she's responsible for. So I just
Right.
didn't want it to think that she just doesn't want to do this. So
Yeah,
I just wanted to
I
clarify
can
that.
help her with the civil service stuff. That stuff can be tricky sometimes. Sort of the origin story of our firm. The founder and president of our firm, she was formerly the head of HR for Schenectady County.
Yeah.
So sort of our expertise is in civil service law and things like that. But the day-to-day stuff, I'm sure she has handled really well. But anything that could get into sort of reshuffling of positions and creating new positions and stuff like that, always happy to help with stuff like that.
Okay, all right, great, thank you.
No problem.
So do you basically, you guys tailor each proposal like per town you work in? Everyone's not, it's
Yeah.
not a one shoe fits all.
Right. Exactly.
You would know how, you would come in and I guess and meet with all the departments right out the gate and establish,
Yeah, it's good for them to sort of
Everything, right.
be able to put a name to the face.
Okay.
Because if they just hear that, all right, the town hired this HR consultant and they've never met me, they're going to be a lot more reticent to just kind of pick up the phone and call me with a question or something like that. So yeah, my approach would be to kind of first sit down, have an initial kickoff meeting, introduce myself, explain what I do, and then going forward, just kind of build those relationships.
Great. Councilman McCarthy?
I know it's $700 monthly, and then when it comes to personnel issues, is that included in that $700 or part of that? And also, if there's a personnel issue, and I know I worked with you in the handbook, and you did most of it even before James and I came on the board, do we have to make any changes to our handbook when it comes to personnel issues, is which I think, in my opinion, we need the most help with? And how do you recommend that we set that up? And how do we recommend our employees would they go to you first, and then you would come back to the board with recommendations? So, like in other towns, if you could maybe just tell me how they do it, or tell us how you would recommend us to do that.
Yeah. So, that would be something we would probably want to discuss in depth. But in some places, certainly, we would sort of adjust what we've put in the employee handbook and like where we have a complaint procedure. we would essentially list, you know, your first point of contact. If you want to submit a complaint, reach out to the town's HR consultant, submit a formal complaint, and then we kind of go from there. So that could certainly be something we work in there. But in terms of the employee handbook itself, that's something that, you know, as new regulations came about, you know, we would just kind of update, you know, based on what's there.
And again, does the $700 cover this, or is
Yeah.
there additional? It does.
Yep. So anything on site would just be sort of, you know, separate charge, but that would fall under that sort of hourly rate. But anything that is done, can be done remotely, would just fall under the $700.
What are the, like, the larger towns, or even like all the other towns, like, what do they just have, they have HR like in-house? Do they have it?
It
other
depends. You know, there's some, like tomorrow, I'll be in the town of Mount Pleasant in Westchester County. That's, you know, a municipality with about, you know, 50,000 residents, you know, 250 full-time employees. So they completely outsource their HR to us. But with them, because it's obviously much more high maintenance given the large volume of employees, I'm on site there once a week. So, you know, really kind of depends on size and need and stuff like that.
Councilman McCarthy, anything else?
No, that's it. Thanks.
Councilwoman Pitt?
I don't really have anything additional on top of what was already discussed. I'm curious to know if public sector HR provides any training on, you know, mandatory trainings regarding workplace sexual harassment, workplace violence, threat assessment, anything like that.
Yeah, we used to quite a bit, but now most of the time the insurance carriers will just kind of do it for free. So, you know, whether you have PERMA, NYMER, whoever, usually you can just kind of pick up the phone, contact them, and they'll come do it for free. So we haven't had much business doing that lately, but we have all the certifications to do it.
And I believe we had heard back from other townships and other earlier correspondence that we had throughout the year regarding public sector HR. I believe one stands out to me. I think it was the town of Red Hook supervisor got back to us with positive. So that was in one of the email correspondence. I don't have anything additional at this point.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you,
Yes, I
sir.
appreciate yours. All right, next item on the agenda will be privilege of the floor with respect to agenda items only. Anyone with any comments on the agenda, come on up, just state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, we can move on to resolutions. Wendell asked that we pass the, something we can also do next week. I believe Wendell wanted us to move on 114 so we can get the lake treatments going on. So we'll run through the resolutions, and I think the facilities use request may be a good one to get done also. All right, Resolution 112, authorizing intermunicipal agreement for snow and ice control services. Bobby, can this wait till next week, or do you want this done this week?
That's up to you guys if you want to let the county know one way or the other that might be beneficial.
Okay, and so we did reach out to them to see if they would, to see if we could get an increase on what they were paying us already for the per mile maintenance for the roads over the winter, but they told us there would not be an increase this year. So we did go after it to see if we could get some, and they said that we already are at the highest number of all the roads in the counties that they work with, and that they were going to keep it there. I know you guys did a great job on it last year, for sure. I'm sure our school buses will definitely appreciate it, because it's a lot easier when you and your crew are out there doing it, rather than waiting on the county coming all the way out here to get on those roadways. I don't know if the board has any comments on this agenda or on this item, or questions. You know, we could vote on it tonight, or if you'd like to mull it over, we could put it on for next week.
I'm fine to vote on it tonight. I can just say from having the experience over development off of West
sure,
Dover.
yeah.
To see the plow come to like Lakeside, turn around and go back. You know, the town and the village were always out, you know, earlier, so
Yeah.
I'm ready to vote for it tonight. I don't know what the rest of you
Sure.
want to
And like I
do.
said, we did make contact with the county already to see if we could, if there's any wiggle room there, but they weren't going to entertain it. It's funny, actually, in one of my conversations with them, they came back and they're like, no, 5,600 is the number. And I'm like, actually, 59 is the number. And they came back and said, oh, well, yeah, here you go. You're already higher than everybody else anyways. So,
So I spoke to Bob today, and there was a healthy cushion from what our outlay was compared to what.
yeah.
So,
And it's a good service. I mean,
Yeah,
we do
well,
we do a much
that's-
better job on our own roads for sure, having you guys there. You know, and
It's not that the county does a bad job, just by proximity, we can get to the road quicker than they can.
Sure.
From Poughkeepsie or even Beekman.
certainly.
I just have one question regarding the price of salt. How much has that increased approximately this year? Sorry, Bobby.
That's interesting. We had the problem with the garbage salt last year, which was cheaper than it's been in a long time. That was actually $55.32 a ton. We ended up having to pay, though, $86 a ton for usable salt. This year, the salt, white salt is $75 a ton, but treated, which we also use, is $93 a ton. So it has gone up, but it's not a crazy amount.
Thanks, Bobby. Again, I know in the past, we've had, a lot of communication with the schools, and that was always our biggest concern, not the, the residents obviously as well, but the school goes out there and checks these roads before they do impose any delays or cancelizations. And I know they were much happier with you guys out there last year, for sure.
I understand that with the, actually, I don't understand with the county why they wouldn't up the price, right? That we're gonna be receiving per mile, with this increase, in salt that's gonna affect us directly.
Their feeling was that if we happen to have a light winter, we don't have to refund any money, so whatever we get, we keep, whether it's we're out or
Right.
not. And in the contract, it does state that if we have a heavy winter, the supervisor can approach them for additional payments.
what are we talking about in dollars as far as the increase in price based on last year's usage?
It averaged last year what we paid about $71 a ton with the garbage salt and the decent salt.
And how many tons did we use? That's, I'm sorry. No, I know. I was just curious as to how, like to Corinne's point, how much more?
It'd probably be pretty difficult to break down
Yeah,
just those roads,
okay.
because those trucks are hitting multiple roads now.
Separate what's on the county
Okay.
versus the town.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think for the safety of our residents, and we did have a light winter last winter, and maybe we'll get lucky again, I think
We
it makes
stick with
sense
it,
for the,
yeah.
I mean, we can,
You guys also gotta keep in mind, like, if we continue to do this, which I think it worked out well, there are gonna be years where the town does not make out well, but if you do it long enough, it averages out.
And we did it for a long time prior to this contract not being there.
correct.
And we did receive our new highway truck this year, so we have another new, heavy highway truck on the road as well, right? Which is great.
John,
Heard nothing but positive feedback
Yeah.
about it from last year as
Yep.
well, so.
All right, I'll make a motion for Resolution 112. Can I have
I'll
a second?
second.
Any other discussion from the board? Bobby, again, just thanks to you and your crew for I know it's, for all the folks over there that work with you, they take on all these extra roads, so it adds to their workload, but, thank you to them for getting them done. We'll do a roll call vote. Councilman Migan?
aye.
Councilwoman Snow?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy?
All right,
Councilwoman Pitt?
Aye.
Supervisor, aye. 112 passes. Resolution 113, approval of salt and sander purchase with plow. Bobby, this is for one of the smaller vehicles?
Yes.
Is this replacing an existing salt sander or just adding another one into the fleet?
It's both. It's replacing one that we can't use anymore because it's, 25 years old. Otherwise, we would have just moved it over to another vehicle.
Gotcha. right, this is a Sourcewell bid as well, $19,334. What is this, like one of those 2-yard sanders?
Yeah. And then the plow as well.
Okay. Do you want this done tonight as well?
If you want to, it's fine. If not, I can wait. It's not-
Okay, I mean, you've already done all the legwork, so there's nothing's gonna change between now and next week. I'll make a motion for Resolution 113, approval of salter and sander purchase with plow. Could I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion from the board? Roll call vote, Councilman Migan?
Aye.
Councilwoman Snow?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Councilwoman Pitt?
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt? Aye. 113 passes. And Bobby, thanks for being here, being able to answer these questions. I know you guys were out literally paving as I came down the hill to come to this meeting. I was like, whoa, they're still out here. I think everyone going to church on Sunday would be awfully happy. Resolution 114, approving a 3-year contract with the Pond and Lake Connections for lake treatment services. So this is something that Wendell handles, and this is for Green Mountain Lake and I forget what the Pond and Lake Connection. Green Mountain Lake, the 3 of them. I'm going to read their names into the minutes here. Oh, it's with Pond and Lake Connection for lake treatment services, and this covers Green Mountain, the one over on Holmes Road, and he does this every few years. And Wendell works with the DEC on this as well, so there's requirements for some of the stuff that he goes through. I'm sorry, I know he couldn't be here tonight. I think he reached out to some of us or maybe sent an email about this, but he did want to get this done.
Do we know, and you might not know, because I hadn't gotten the email, but I just wondered what they're treated with?
I don't know what that is. Wendell handles all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't know what treatment. I'm not a lake. I wouldn't be a
That was
lake
just,
specialist.
I was at the planning board meeting last
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
night, and a question a couple of the CAB members had, so I said I would ask the question.
We can definitely get that from Wendell that goes in there. I know they pay special attention to the stuff because everything does end up going downstream.
Do they get treated every year in the past, or
I
how
believe
does that?
it's every year.
I think
right?
it's every
He
year,
does this
yes.
yeah, he does this every year. I don't know much about what goes in it. I'll be honest with you. I don't know
Wait.
what he uses.
And see if we could find out
You know
before
what?
we vote.
I don't think it'll be an issue to wait for another week. I know he wanted to get it done, but I can't see it being a major issue. If it is, he'll probably phone in. And
Okay,
ask
okay.
us. All right. We'll table 114 to get a little more information. I don't know exactly what chemicals he uses. I'm sure they go through an approval process with the DEC and whatnot, but we will get that for everybody.
Okay, great, thank you.
And then Resolution 115, facilities use request. We do these pretty much every month. You see them this time of year, even at the end of the year, getting them done. People renting out facilities within the park. And this all goes through the recreational department and our rec director. So I'll make a motion for Resolution 115. Could I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion from the board? Roll call vote. Councilman Migan?
Aye.
Councilwoman Snow?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Councilman Pitt?
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt? Aye. 115 passes. And we'll get some more information on exactly what goes into those lake treatments for everybody.
I'm just curious, too.
No, it makes sense.
Thank you, I
It makes sense
appreciate
to
it.
get a lot. Wendell
Thanks.
will have it readily available for everybody.
Okay, great, thank you.
And then we'll jump into new business and special consideration items for the town board. I'll start with Councilman Migan.
I just want to thank Councilwoman Pitt for putting the legwork into this HR business. And like you said, I want to thank Bobby as well for not just being willing, but for doing the snow plowing over the winter. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Snow.
I just wanted to have just a brief discussion on going forward about our streaming the meetings. What are we, I had sent an email, what are we thinking about? Are we thinking about training our own staff to do the streaming? Are we thinking of replacing?
So we're gonna, that's something we have to, Stephanie's here. Thanks a lot, Steph, for doing this for us. She's back there. I know everyone has been trained on this. Maria did, resign over a week ago, so we didn't have any time to get anyone in here to replace it. So, thanks to Stephanie for getting in here and running these meetings for us. you know, we're gonna have to talk to the planning and zoning board as well. I don't know if they can do it with their set, they have the same, you know, tools available to them, so I don't know if they have someone, maybe if Joanne can do that for them or not, but
Would-
if not, then we'll have to get somebody else to step in here and do that. You know, Maria was great for us. She was back there and able to run the meetings and run the computer system. But we didn't know she was leaving, you know, it was abruptly. So we are, if we can't do it with the current people, then we'll get someone here to do it for sure.
Would Gary be willing, do you think we can reach out to him and see if he'll
That would-
give people a refresher? Because
Certainly.
they showed me like when it first went in, but I couldn't tell you exactly
Yeah.
what to do.
I know, he had to text me how to turn it off 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
So I agree with you. If we can't get it internally, we'll have to look for someone else to come in and do these meetings. But it is on top of the priority list for
Okay,
sure.
Great, great. And then secondly, and I don't know, this was just an idea, when I was on the school board, we had a policy committee. And I wondered, you know, just for a brief discussion with the board about how they might feel of us forming some policy committee, because I know, again, I know it's apples and oranges, the school and the town. However, there are different policies that come for the towns. And this way, it would be, you know, us being abreast of all the policy changes, what needs to be updated. And it's just a thought that I had, and maybe we can have more discussion next week. But I think it would be a good idea for the board, so that we're all up on current policy.
Like internal stuff?
Yes.
I wonder if that's something that maybe the HR consulting firm would be able to do for us, though.
That was something that
seems
Ian
like
helped
it's-
us, oh, sorry.
Right, maybe? We can ask him.
When we were doing the handbook, that was
Yes.
something that Ian was very good at the year I worked with him, and then prior to that, he had a whole list of things that,
For policy?
policies, whether it's mandated or things of that nature, so.
Okay, okay.
We can
He would
definitely
be
ask that
very
to
good
him.
to help us with that, I
Okay,
think.
thank you. Yep, okay.
It seems like it's actually part of this, the way I read this proposed scope of services. It talks about federal, state labor regulations, including but not limited to Civil Service Law, Fair Labor Standards Act, Americans with Disabilities Act, Family and Medical Leave Act. Obviously, it's written in here about our employee handbook. So what type of policy were you thinking about?
No, I guess I was just thinking in general, that sometimes when there are policies that come down from a town, from the state, that how it used to work with the school is we would get notified. And how it worked is our clerk actually got notified. And then we had a committee made up of a couple of board members, a couple of community members, and it was really just going over the policy and understanding the policy. And we actually, in our role, made changes, you know, to bring back to the state. Because some things fit, some things didn't. So it just came to mind with just things that, you know.
Even updates, you're thinking, things that changes and
Yes,
whatnot.
yes, there's
Sure.
just a lot of things. And then we would be notified. So,
Sure.
Policy changes? Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
I was asking Nancy if, through their representations with multiple townships, if policy changes were pushed down from the state, if they were notified at all.
Oh, okay.
I think it'd be a good thing to, even before we finalize this contract with the HR consulting firm, is we could pose this to them and see that if this isn't covered, you know, in a way that you're satisfied with, we could make sure that they know that this is something we'd be looking for, because that would be the easiest thing, right, to have them doing that, for
Right.
sure.
And I guess it would be, I mean, if they can do it, would be a good use, you know,
Certainly.
of certainly having them, because it seemed like with all the work that our legislative aid does, the thing that would be paying for really is investigations, for the most part, maybe some updates, but we'll just see what we can do, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, thanks.
Councilman McCarthy?
I don't have anything tonight, thank you.
Councilwoman Pitt?
Yeah, I thought we were gonna see a resolution to bring on public sector HR consultants this evening.
We could have it on for next week's meeting, since we had the presentation tonight. I figured that we wouldn't have it on here tonight only because in case there was further questions for the consultant while he was here.
Okay, so,
And pretty much the only thing that come up is the policy and procedures, right? So we could get that email to him tomorrow and then have this on for next week? I
Maybe,
don't foresee it being an issue, right, with
no,
everybody?
I mean, maybe you can include the direct references just to make a call or two.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anything else, Councilman Pitt?
No, no, thank you.
All right, I just want to mention that September is Suicide Prevention Month. Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is, just dial 988. You can also go to 988lifeline.org and chat with someone privately online as well. And NAMI, NAMI.org, offers tools, resources, and support for anybody that would need that. So 988 is the line you would dial, and 988lifeline.org is where you would go to chat online for that. Again, I want to thank Bobby and his crew. I know you guys are working late up there. I saw you there early this morning and late today. Are they paving tomorrow as well?
Yeah, tomorrow we're gonna work on, cover.
Excellent.
And then, Friday, we should be over on Holland Road. And then Monday, Old 22, and then,
Strawberry is one of the ones that's like 40 years old again, right?
yeah.
Thanks a lot.
We're gonna get the first section of Strawberry done this year.
Thanks a lot to you guys for getting out there and tackling some of these roads. It's incredible it's been so long, but people do appreciate it, that's for sure. So thanks a lot. All right, so see no more business for the town board. We will move to privilege of the floor with respect to agenda and non-agenda items. Please try and keep your comments around 3 minutes and just state your name and address for the record.
Robert Hill, North Quaker Hill Road. And out of respect for you, James, we just had a short meeting. We're going to have one afterwards, so I won't go into any details. I just want to be on record that it's an ongoing problem that we're trying to solve, and it has to do with the design engineer bringing in Verizon, I think,
Verizon and Comcast.
Right, Comcast, right, and putting a pole right in the middle of the entranceway to, where my property is with the waterfall. That's all I'll say.
Sure. So just so the board knows, and as for the general public, we'd spoken at the previous meeting, right, about this telephone pole that went in. We did reach out to the communication companies, Verizon and Comcast, and then we heard back actually from the engineers who were involved with the project on Dewey Lane, and they had came back to us and said that they had had conversations with Mr. Hill about the pole location and things of that nature. Obviously, you don't agree with that, but I wanted to tell you, I showed you the emails, and that they did look into the property lines of where the pole is located, and they're telling us that the pole is not on his property. It actually falls within the utility easement. So that's something you and I are going to look at together. But we did reach out and have this correspondence, and that's what they came back to us with. So Mr. Hill doesn't agree that it's there. So we're gonna keep working on this. But that's what we've come through so far from the engineers and Verizon and Comcast.
Yeah, and as I say, I wasn't going to get into details, but that's false that they said that about talking to me or anything about it. They basically hit it from
Yeah, we're going to connect
me.
you with the utility companies as well, just so we can see,
Right.
open up some correspondence from you as the landowner as well.
Right, and there's an issue both on the location and also they're not permitted to block an entrance. How would you like it? How would people like it if they just decided to put in front of their entrance? And this is blocking where we bring equipment in at times to do maintenance of the waterfall. Maintenance, by that I mean that sometimes trees float down and they don't go over the waterfall. I've actually taken care of getting them out of there. And it's also the place where people go to look at it. As I said, I think my father was with Governor Dewey. He was up to his place. You talked about him walking up and down the street. That's one of the places he always used to show people the waterfall. So.
Certainly.
Okay.
You got it.
And I wasn't even going to go into it.
No worries. I want to make sure everyone understood. We had
That's okay.
we've done a bunch of due diligence since the last meeting, but that's what we've got back, unfortunately, so far.
Yeah, and again, it's not true. And I just wanted to be on record that it's ongoing, and then we'll
Certainly.
continue later. Okay.
Thank you,
I
Mr.
would-
Hill.
I just have one quick question. What correspondence is going back and forth with NYSEG about this alleged
Right.
issue?
Nothing with NYSEG. It's not a NYSEG. It's a communication pole. It's got Verizon and Comcast.
Verizon,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, nothing with NYSEG.
All right, who has those communications?
All right. I asked the engineer, would you give me the person that you talked to and, a contact so I could be on record as objecting to it, right? And he would not give it to me. And I do have correspondence, indicating that he would not give it to me. And he also said there was a problem going other ways when you try to get to those companies. You usually get, a public thing that doesn't get you to the right place. The place he said that they contacted was that there's a capital programs part of Verizon that his company deals with, and they're the ones that were taking care of it. But I definitely do want to get on record with them. So,
Certainly.
and we're going to you're going to give me some information about that.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Hill.
Glen Cary, Village of Pauling. Could I get some clarity around the cost associated with the proposal for the HR consultant? I think he said $700 a month, and I'm just curious what that entails, because $700 a month isn't a lot in the scheme of things. It's $8,400 a year, and that's not going to get you very far. So
I don't have the proposal in front of me. We would have it out here if we were voting on it. I don't know if Corinne, do you have any of that information in front of you?
Let me hear, yes.
Thank you.
So I guess I could start for the fee for services. Is that what's your question?
well,
What
what
all
does it entail?
entails?
I mean, is it $700 a month, but then when they do an investigation,
Yeah.
you're paying extra?
Yeah,
Or
so
if they're doing your FEMA compliance, they're going to pay extra for that?
Sure, I can
That's
go.
the
I'll go
clarity
through-
I'm looking
I'll go
for.
through that again. So fees for services. Director of Human Resource Management Services. The fee for the services detailed above shall be $700 a month, right? So I have a whole thing here that was sent to the board as far as the proposal is. That's going to cover unlimited telephone and email consultation. Unlimited telephone and email consult available to designated town officials, department heads, and staff on matters pertaining to human resource management and labor relations, including but not limited to interpretation and application of the town's personnel policies and procedures, federal and state labor regulations, including but not limited to civil service law, Fair Labor Standards Act, Americans with Disabilities Act, Family and Medical Leave Act, federal and state EEO, and sexual harassment. Corrective action and discipline. Provide unlimited telephone and email guidance on issues related to employee coaching, counseling, corrective discipline. Direct handling of applicable procedures, including review, preparation of counseling notices and notices of discipline, charges and specifications, and stipulation of settlement agreements pursuant to CSL 75 will be provided at an additional rate of $200 per hour, which will also be discussed here in a second once I go through this. You have your employee handbook, guidance on the employee handbook that was developed by Public Sector HR and adopted by the town board. Updates to the employee handbook as needed. Recruiting, interviewing, and hiring program. Provide guidance and administrative forms for employment, application, telephone screening, reference checking, new hire checklists, and other related forms. Workers' comp, disability, and medical leave administration. They'll provide education assistance in medical leave of absence and return to work procedures, provide guidance on Family Medical Leave Act and Town's Family and Medical Leave Policy, including explaining procedures and eligibility, requirements, drafting the approval and denial letters, and developing return to work clearance forms, and provide education and assistance for leaves pertaining to Civil Service Law 71, 72, and 73. Civil Service guidance. They will provide guidance on civil service rules, regs, procedures, ensuring adherence to civil service requirements, including areas such as types of appointments, whether they be temporary or provisional, and civil service classifications. Drug and alcohol testing policy, personnel files and forms, develop personnel forms as needed to ensure accurate employee administration and adherence to applicable compliance requirements. Provide guidance on the town's personnel files with respect to overall maintenance, control, storage, and access of said files. Fees for services. The fee for the services detailed above shall be $700 a month. Additional consulting services. Upon specific requests and authorization, they will provide additional consulting services not included in the above scope of services at a rate of $200 per hour, or for a project fee. As Ian had mentioned, they work on projects with multiple townships. Examples may include consultation provided at the client's location, conducting workplace investigations, preparation and management of counseling memos and disciplinary actions, etc. Any on-site consultation requiring travel between the consultant's primary office and the town, or to another location remote from the consultant's primary office location. Time spent in transit shall be billable at the rate of $100 per hour. Travel expenses. The town of Pauling will agree to reimburse for any mileage directly related to providing services. The mileage rate shall be in accordance to the current mileage rate allowed by the IRS at the time the travel takes place.
Yeah, that's extensive, but I can tell you that within that, the cost of getting all those services with some of the disclosures that were read early on, this is going to be tens of thousands of dollars, and I think that the town really needs to have a firm understanding of what that cost is truly going to be before you adopt it thinking that it's going to be $700 monthly, because there's no way that anyone could do that for $700 a month, all that's listed there, and that's a full-time job right there for somebody to do. And it sounds too good to be true, and it probably is, because there's no way you're going to get the necessary services that you should get out of that for that price.
I think it's very clear here as far as when it comes to workplace investigations, prep, management, and counseling memos, disciplinary actions. It's billable at a rate of $200 per hour.
Correct.
So,
Right. Plus all the other things that are on the front that they say they're doing. To be able to do all that effectively, you're not going to be able to do that for $700 a month. This is what I do for a living, so I know that.
We could reach out to a few of these towns too, Mr. Carey, like LaGrange and Rhinebeck, some of the ones that are local to us, just to get an idea of what they spend annually.
And exactly what services they're getting for that.
Certainly, yeah, and to see, how much above and beyond it goes on average.
Correct.
Sure.
And I would also recommend that an audit of HR compliance be conducted without having an HR person in the town ever in that role. There's probably a lot that is not being done, not intentionally, but they're just not aware. I think to Colleen's point, where she talked about a committee, that committee could make sure that the town is in compliance with a lot of the procedures and federal and state laws that people should be abiding by. Then my next question is, the gentleman alluded to a complaint procedure that is in the handbook. And I'm curious as to what that complaint procedure is, and what is the process of the complaint procedure.
Oh, I don't have it offhand. I'm sorry. I didn't bring the handbook out here with me. It is in the handbook. It's given to all the employees and elected officials. I don't know it off the top of my head, the exact procedure for it, though.
So can I assume that the letter that was submitted, the resignation letter that was submitted by the Recreation Director, Robin, that her allegations in her letter have been put through this process and investigated and gone through a complaint process review?
Nancy, if we would speak on a personal matter like that, right?
I wouldn't recommend assuming anything, Mr. Carey. Robin's letter of resignation wasn't a request for anyone to address a specific complaint that she had, I will say that. So there
Well, I
was
guess,
an
well,
investigation
there was or there was not?
conducted. Not.
So there was not. Okay, that's key. So we've heard just one side of the story. We didn't hear the other side. So that I just think that's an important part of the record, that if somebody is working for the town and they have complaints about someone, they need to bring it through the process so that they can be investigated. If somebody didn't do that, it's really not fair to those who allegations were made against, that they were never fully investigated and put through a process where a full review and a conclusion was drawn.
Sure, and they could ask for investigation, though.
Yeah, in
Right.
that respect. The town board doesn't have any resources. There's no avenue for them to investigate complaints made against an elected official. Employees, yes, but not against an elected official. I just want to put that out.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But I think that the town board could contract or have contracted with a law firm to conduct an independent investigation. You don't need an HR consultant to be able to do that.
Based
That's-
on what circumstance?
If somebody makes an allegation about a board member, the board wouldn't be investigating it, but you would hire lawyers, independent, to conduct an investigation and come back to the board
That's correct.
with a complete review. That would be the process that one would take.
So I feel that the difference here was this was a resignation letter, not a
No.
request for an investigation.
I understand that now, Corinne. That's been clarified, but that wasn't the case before. One would have assumed that these allegations would have been brought to the town board's attention so that they could have been addressed at the time, which they were not done. They were brought to the attention of the board in a resignation letter. That's my point. Because if they were brought to anybody's attention, they should have been investigated. That's my point.
We have done them in the past, though,
An
right?
investigation if we have no recourse, just make things public once we had substantiated or unsubstantiated allegations?
Well, the recourse is you go back to the employee and you tell them we conducted an investigation and these are our findings. That's what it is.
That's the recourse? Because the
That's-
board
that-
can't discipline an elected official. They can't remove them. They can't tell them how to do their job. I mean, that's what the electorate is for.
So you don't make it known to the employee who makes an allegation about an elected official. You go and you do an investigation, and then you come back and you tell them the findings. And if that's the case,
An
then
employee, right.
Well,
It's
yeah,
different than a-
well, but why? But so you're saying that anybody can allege something about a town board member after the fact because you couldn't investigate them.
We can investigate them.
Unless it's requested.
So
It's requested
Right, if it's requested. like we-
requested by who?
by probably
An
the
employee.
person who's the subject of
That's
the
that's
allegation.
exactly my point. That's exactly the point I was
If
making.
it's requested.
That didn't happen.
It
That did
wasn't-
not happen.
No, the board was not asked to conduct an
Correct.
investigation.
Right.
Sure.
Correct. That's the
think
point.
maybe what, just if so I understand. You're talking about a situation where a complaint was made against an elected official, and that elected official was never told about the complaint,
I don't know if they were or they weren't.
okay? So, all right, then I misunderstood what you were getting at.
Yeah, I don't know if they were or they weren't.
We have
I'm
done-
asking about the allegations that were made in the letter, whether or not those were brought to anybody's attention, and that an investigation was done. That's my question. And it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Right. That's
Within the board's purview.
Right.
well,
Unless
but
it's
it would be
requested.
in the purview
If
if
it's
the person had
requested.
personally come forward and requested that.
The person about whom the complaints might have been made.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. And my point is that didn't happen,
That's right.
and these things didn't surface to the public as a result of anything until the letter of resignation. That's my point.
Sure.
I just wanted to clarify the record on that.
And just so you know, and just for the record, by the way, we have done investigations in the past. There has been issues. It's not like it's not something we don't practice here.
But what
When
is
it's
the
been brought to
process,
us-
though?
When it's been brought to us, we would go to our town attorney's office and say, this is what happened, and we document everything, and then the board makes a decision
counsel.
on the advice of counsel if we move forward with an investigation or not. So it has happened in other situations, for sure.
But who conducts the investigation?
In all my time, it's been outsourced.
It's an outside
Yeah, it's
firm,
outsourced, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's outsourced.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say something quickly on behalf of, employees and employees, just not only for the town of Pauling, but for where you work, where we all work, that it's not easy to come forth with a complaint, especially depending on your tenure of service and the things that have gone on during that tenure, whether you're a new employee, whether, you're an employee with 20 years on, things could be handled differently. Here, our employees that work specifically for the town of Pauling, they also have to deal with a board, right? That can change, and it's a more fluid situation for them than other places of employment. So things here can be difficult for our employees at times. So,
Corinne, I don't disagree.
I know you're not disagreeing.
I don't
with me.
disagree with that, but I also don't agree with the fact that because somebody writes a letter of resignation and makes allegations against people, that is in fact.
And I'm
And-
in agreement with you
Good.
there.
Thank you. That's my point. That's my point. I know how I worked in government, and I work in the private sector, so I know them both, and I know how difficult it can be.
Right.
But it's also, while it may be difficult for the employee, it's also unfair for people that may have an allegation against them that's unfounded.
Correct.
You don't need
That's
to tell,
my-
you don't need to tell me
that's
about
my
that. Frivolous lawsuits, frivolous suits with baseless claims pending all the time, and people can file them anytime they want.
Christine Mitchell, Town Bookkeeper. I'd just like to say something as an employee. It's also unfair that elected officials can do things with impunity while they're elected, because there's nothing that can be done to them.
Thank you.
Stephanie Giordano. I am the town's legislative aide, and I would just like to reiterate that everything that Mr. Carey said is 100% false. I have spent numerous times with Robin in my office crying, trying to help her. These allegations are not false, and unless you're in this building every single day to see what happens, you don't get to say anything. That woman handled what happened to her with dignity and grace that I've never seen before. That woman is an angel, and what happened to her was disgusting. And you all know what I am talking about. It is absolutely bonkers that this woman had to resign. She did complain. She did come to the board. She did come to me. But again, what are we going to do? You all are elected officials. We can't do anything. And like it's been said before by elected officials, you can't touch me. I'm so sick and tired of that. And guess what? As far as the handbook goes, if an employee prefers not to direct the harassment to the department head or employer, they may instead report harassment to the New York State Division of Human Rights and/or the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. And complaints may be made to both the town and a government agency. Believe me, I know, because I now find myself in the same position that Robin found herself.
Can anyone, let's refrain from using names, please. And then, Mr. Carey, this is the
I just
last
want to
time up
just,
tonight, because we don't want to
yes, that's
create a
fine.
habit.
I just want to
Thank you.
provide clarity. My point was that, you know, in all due respect to Stephanie, she stated that she had heard complaints in her office. Well, that employee could have, as we talked, could have submitted a complaint and required an investigation. And clearly that didn't happen. I'm not saying that somebody should be treated poorly in any way, but if the person complains, it should be investigated. And if that never happened, the complaint never was filed, therefore there was never an investigation.
That
That's my
doesn't
point.
stop folks from making allegations, correct?
Correct. Correct.
Right.
But it doesn't mean the allegation is true until you conduct an investigation and try and get to the truth. That's what.
I think we can go, all right, so listen, we can go
You just
round
said
and
that
round on this.
if an
You know the way it
employee
works.
files a complaint, well, but we're going round and round, but this is important.
I understand,
So
but
if
I
somebody
want everyone to
files a
understand-
complaint
Correct.
against, if I'm working for the town and I have a complaint about how a board member treated me, why wouldn't that be investigated? I mean, I was in village government. If somebody did that to a board member, we would investigate that.
By who, Mr. Carey, would do the
We
investigation?
would hire outside counsel to do
Who
it.
would an individual?
We would hire outside counsel to conduct the investigation.
You are correct. I think the problem is.
That's exactly what we would do.
I think what Councilwoman Pitt was leading to earlier is just, I can understand employees, why they feel that when they ask for an investigation, as you know from being in government for a long time, there's still no disciplinary board for an elected official other than the governor's office. And you could launch an investigation, find all the proof you wanted, and there's still nowhere to go with it, because in New York State, there's still nothing that you can do
There's no
to an
teeth.
elected official.
Well,
Correct. That's
There
the-
may be no teeth, but you have a record
That's-
of it.
that's
You have a
what-
record of it.
Certainly.
That's my point.
That's
You have a
very
record
correct.
of it.
Absolutely.
That's the key.
And we encourage our
That's my
employees to document things, speak with Stephanie as our HR person currently in her capacity, just like everyone before her was. We encourage employees to document things, send emails immediately to the board.
But again, none of that until you document, investigate, and then you have a record of it, it means nothing.
If
That's
you-
my
if-
point.
I understand completely.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Lou Musella, Grissom Lane. Very interesting conversations tonight, and I'm sure they're going to bear some fruit eventually. But I'd just like to just follow up on some of the comments that I made at the last meeting with regard to Robin's resignation letter. Surprisingly, that there was an inference made that perhaps he just got a job someplace else and the pastures were just greener on the other side. Well, the first sentence in the fourth paragraph of her resignation letter states, "The last 10 months have been the most emotionally and physically mentally taxing, and has taken a toll on me, which drove me to this drastic change." That sentence to me implies that she certainly didn't go just get another job for better pay and for greener pastures. It also implies to me that two people can read the same document and come up with two different interpretations. I did a little bit of research too after that meeting, and I Googled everything for New York State, because New York State is different than any other state. And I found out that, exit interviews are not required by an employer. But if an employer asks an employee to submit an exit interview, the employee can decline. And I also learned that ex and former employees can be asked to come back and submit an exit interview. That being said, after learning that, I took it upon myself to contact Robin. She was kind enough to send me a phone number, and I had a brief conversation with her. I says, "Robin, the reason why I'm calling you is I just want to ask you two questions. I realize that you must be getting a lot of phone calls about why you left and where you're working, but I'm not going to ask you any of that. I just want to know two questions. Answer the two questions. And if you give me the right answer to my first question, it'll trigger my second question." My first question was, would you come in and sit for an exit interview? And she said yes. And I said, my second question is, will you be willing to make that exit interview public? And she said yes. That being said, with everything that's going on right now in the town, I would implore you to, perhaps if you're not going to hire this gentleman or that firm, you at least have someone to sit down with Robin, conduct an exit interview so we know exactly what she went through and what caused the resignation of this 20-year star employee. And perhaps you can also, if you're going to sit down with this particular firm or individual, you can ask other employees that left under the same circumstances to come in and state their cases as well. Let's put this to rest. We are the talk of the valley. We were the star of the valley at one point, but this really was a shot to the gut. Let's find out what's going on. Let's address it, and let's get it done before November. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. Any other comments?
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi. My name is Stephanie McLaughlin. I live at 28 Brady Brook Farm Road. I'm here tonight with our library director, Chris Fisher, for those of you who don't know him. And
We see his name tag.
Oh, perfect. He wore his name tag.
He wears it out.
In case I forget.
We wanted to let everybody know that this November, voters in Pauling will see a ballot proposition asking them to vote on a budget increase for our library. Currently, we receive $450,000 a year. We're asking for an increase of $100,000 so that we will receive a total of $550,000 a year. And this is to run our entire library. I'm now going to turn it over to Chris so he can talk a little bit about why we need this increase. Thanks.
So, hello everyone. So it's been 7 years since we've been through this process before and asked the community to increase our operating income. And in the past 3 years, we've had to make some really difficult choices, making cuts to valuable core services, such as programs for all ages, scaling back books, magazines, newspapers, ebooks, technology. And we've also reduced our hours and stopped subscribing to one of our most valued digital streaming services, much to the disappointment of many community members. At the same time, though, our library is growing. Right? We've continued to increase the demand. Last year, we had 65,000 visits to the library. We had 800 programs that served 9,000 people. And the popularity of ebooks and audiobooks continue to grow, and physical materials like DVDs, books, but also non-traditional things like board games, long games, our Lakeside Pass, or musical instruments. They are holding strong. So as we all face increased costs, the demand for libraries are going to increase. I can promise you that. But it's getting harder to sustain the necessary services for our community, the services that people sincerely rely on at our current rate of funding. So this is why this vote is so important. I do have a FAQ. Is it okay if I give it to?
Certainly.
You can just pass them along.
Thanks, Chris.
If there are extras, it's okay.
Chris, is that number up, 65,000, is that up from last
It
year?
is, yes. We've been growing about 10,000 visits every year for the past 3 years. So
10,000 a year
Yeah.
increase?
We're very popular.
I guess so.
You saw it at Dinosaurs and Donuts. so-
Yeah, yeah. My kids love the Dinosaur and Donuts one. Yeah. I don't even think they realized they were in a library, actually. All they were just fixated on donuts and dinosaurs.
I mean, that's what I was focused on.
We're a fun place.
Excellent. And this will be on the ballot in November, right?
Yeah.
The folks are
You
going to
have
have
to
to flip it over, right? They're going to have to flip it over to vote for this. Okay, we'll make sure we get more information out on this as well.
Thank you.
Leading up to the election day. Any other comments? All right, seeing none, can I make a motion to adjourn?
I have one more quick comment, please, just about
Sure.
what Chris just handed out to us. Can we put this on the website?
Of course. Yeah. Yeah, we'll scan it in tomorrow.
Do we
You
have
have
a
it on your-
section for
you
the
have it on your-
library on the website?
Yeah.
There is,
There's a
right?
link to our website, but I can send you the PDF too. That's-
It's a link straight to yours, though, right? Okay.
All right. Thank you. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. See you all next week.
All right.